is going on, everybody? Welcome in to the North End Podcast, episode 264. My name is Zach Graham, your host here in the North End, joined, as always, by my good buddy. He's on record as my best friend. His name is Ian Michaud, and we call him... Sitting here on a Monday, beautiful, victorious, Austin, Texas, coming off a 1-0 Eastradamus win against LAFC. Very fun night at the Q on Sunday. Sunday night soccer. Back in town. How you feeling?
Feeling great, man. Looking at this work of art that is the table right now, and just telling myself, man, I could be a Houston fan. I could be a Houston Dynamo fan. You know what I mean? What would that feel like? That would just be terrible. That would be so shitty, and just to not be in the playoffs. So I'm doing great, man. Coming off this win here, glad the guys were able to bounce back. I don't give a shit who was or was not on the field for LAFC last night. You had to win a game to feel better about yourself, and the team got the job done. And it was not a pretty game. It was not an exciting game, but still got the job done, and that's all that matters. Now you're locked into the 6th seed, and I can firmly plant and stamp that this season has been a successful one. Absolutely. Are there more things that are attainable that could happen? Yes, of course. Would that be great to go see? Would love for that to happen. But this has been a successful season. So shout out to Nico and his staff. Shout out to the players. Shout out to everyone involved. It is the start of a new era here in Austin.
I'm with you, man. And you talk about Houston. I think we can say the same thing about Dallas right now because embarrassing, potentially season-ending collapse against the wooden spoon at the time winning Galaxy. Now the Galaxy out of that wooden spoon spot headed into decision day. So I think we pay more attention to the table, our surroundings on Thursday's episode previewing decision day. Let's just lock in here and talk about the win against Los Angeles last night. Before we get into the rest of today's episode 264 here in the North End, just want to remind you all, as we always do, that you can support the show financially by downloading the audio version of our episodes wherever you get your podcasts. So Apple, Spotify, wherever you're getting those pods, toggle on auto downloads, and then you can support the show going forward, and you won't have to think about it again. You can go the extra mile for us, rate and review the show wherever you get your podcasts. And if you are watching on the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. It does help us grow the show. You can hit the notification bell to know when a live stream pops up or a new episode goes live. Of course, here on episode 264, hit the thumbs up, like the video. Help us battle the YouTube algorithm overlords. Atone for your sins, Los Angeles. Wash yourselves clean in the waters of the North End. And hey, if you're just a YouTube subscriber, go to your podcast app, download the episode, and then you come back to YouTube and you watch it. You little double dip for the North End here, just for the playoff clincher. You clinching the 6th seed. And it was a progression right through the weekend because we were wrapping up the weekend, Sunday night soccer. We clinched a top 7 seed and avoiding that wild card match with the results that happened on Saturday night. So you're already feeling good. A lot less pressure coming into this match. And kind of like you said at the top there, man, like overall, it was a boring match. There are certainly some exciting moments, and everybody wearing Verde and black walked out of the queue happy last night. But overall, just even before we get into this, man, that was I think, right, I said watching the U.S. Open Cup final as a third-party viewer, I thought was a pretty entertaining game. This was the opposite.
Yeah. No, I do not anticipate anyone would other than us, rewatch this game again or have to go through this. But it was a pretty lackluster game. I was pretty surprised, honestly, at how timid and tepid LAFC was. You know what I mean? I still had plenty of guys out there who are quite talented and
off the bench. I mean, that's still a good team without Son and Bouanga.
Absolutely. Obviously they're a buzzsaw with those two guys. They're the 2 hottest players in the league right now, but they still had plenty of talent. And I was pretty surprised that Cherundolo kind of just really had the reins on them and was not letting this team kind of get up and down with us. Not that we were getting up and down, but they're particular. We talked about when we were previewing it, how they've shifted a bit more to that possession-based style, but you thought that a big factor in that was having Son arrive here, which has boosted those possession numbers as of late. So I thought we were going to see a much more counterattacking style that we have seen from LAFC in the past and how those teams have historically looked, but they really just did not have the foot on the gas last night. And, they paid for it, I guess. They have a chance. We'll get into it for sure. They definitely had one on a platter that they could have put home. But other than that, very lackluster.
Just want to shout out our buddy Jonathan, man. It's been a long time coming to meet up with Jonathan there, and like shout out for the little pendants here. I don't know if you got yours handy, but got my little ZG there with the logo on. I know yours says EEE, and you had that on the chain last night. Yeah. So that was great, and gifting us those Lexus Club tickets, which was that's above our pay grade. Normally we're just down there in the north end, so. Very much appreciate that, Jonathan. Great to meet you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. I hope you enjoyed. I believe your last game up there in the Lexus Club. We went out with a bang there for you. So thank you so much, man. Really appreciate your support. The medallion, the pendant, whatever you want to call it there is fantastic, and it's awesome. And I think I might have, been a little too party mode and left it over at your house last night after we got back from the game.
Which means that the lovely Annabelle probably put it somewhere in a cabinet. Like that thing is stowed away. Safe.
It has been put away.
As Mike Crignola said to you once, safely stowed. That's for an audience of like 3 right there.
There we go.
But also, we got to see our old pal Mackie.
Yep.
Shout out to Steven. Got to meet his wife as well. So it was good to see Mackie. It's been a little bit. Anything else for you, like on the fan side of this? Again, you see all of our friends out there. Got to have Whack and Sarah with us. It was I love being able to come here and say the night was great.
Yep.
And the result was great.
Yep. Shout out to Lexus Club Security, Mitch Schaefer. Just doing a really good job up there. Just putting in the hard work, man hours, keeping an eye on us from the vantage point, making sure we're safe. Like
not letting us get too unruly there.
No security breaches.
Work.
Yep. That's good security work.
Well, so we did have a little piece of news coming in, not just from the injury report, but what the fallout was from that unexpected injury. Diego Rubio popped up on Saturday's injury report with a hamstring. He was listed questionable, but then you get a short-term agreement, which answered our question, right? We can still call up those second-team guys here late in the season. It was Adrian Gonzalez getting that short-term loan agreement, which I believe was just his second of the season, and Adrian didn't end up seeing the bench, but man, he's under contract for next year. At the very least, the second team has an option on him, and you've seen some confidence from the first team level in Adrian being one of those guys who can get the call up. So you also had Riley Thomas on the bench as we expected, but I think it says something again, like the average Austin fan isn't watching those second team games game in and game out. We've got eyes on him. He's been very, very solid for that team at the 6 this year. And so I think it's Roto in the front office is forcing our hand to keep an extra eye on Adrian and his development as he's made his way into that list of names that get those call-ups in a pinch.
Yeah, and you might get another one here on decision day because I don't want to see 90% of our starters out there for that game. So shout out to him and to your point, and obviously they see something in him. We've been beating the drum for Al Stway all season long. We know that we have Irvin and Micah down there as well, or playing down there with the first team contract though. But so shout out to Adrian. That was good to see, man.
So one thing I noticed in the rewatch this morning was that they do that looping. We're on a commercial break screen. The game's going to start again soon. You get Paul on there, leading the chants. During that, right before kickoff, they had the PA announcer, the audio from our PA in the stadium, playing on the broadcast. So I thought it was kind of cool that little loop was playing, right? There's no commentators or anything there, but you can hear the starting lineups being announced. And that may have been a mistake, but I thought it kind of built up. If I was sitting at home pregame and that was on, you could hear the starters, the cheers and everything. I thought that was a nice touch, mistake or not. And you see the rest of the lineup, man, like kind of as expected, right? You knew Heinz, Ike, and Georgievich were going to be in there. Dessler getting the start in there, Biru in there. But this came out right in the, whether you're looking on FotMob or you're looking on the team's app, right, when they give you the notification about the lineup. 3-4-3 in possession is what they listed. If you look at the passing maps, more of a 4-back, at least in possession.
Yeah.
But you go right back to that Johnny floating back at times, especially when LAFC has us pinned in, to kind of being that left wing back over there on that side. Ilie and Danny in the middle, Wolff and Buka with CJ up top. So not too many like head scratchers in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you see Diego Rubio not in the team. The rest of that bench, Kulmanic, Obrian, Duber-Sarski, Taylor, Savovich, Thomas Gonzalez, and Cleveland. Anything else for you on that lineup? I mean, I feel like it was mostly as expected.
Yeah, once we got that Diego news, it seemed pretty imminent that CJ was going to get the start again, because we speculated that Diego might get the nod there with Mirtu gone. So that was super exciting. I was amped for CJ to be able to get another start here. And I was keeping my eyes on Dessler quite a bit, I'm going to be honest, because we know he's been dealing with some hip tightness. We know he's been dealing with some injuries throughout his entire career here in Austin, but he looked great last night. And on that left side of the field, that pairing of Biru and Johnny has been a little clunky at times this season. It is obviously not, not the most fluid connection between those two guys, but I thought they did their job pretty admirably last night. Again, not that LAFC was doing a whole lot.
Right. Neither team was, right? And I think we saw the Gallagher-Biru pairing much earlier in the season, like first half of the season, right? And I think one of the things that got us, or that we were trying to maybe spin into a positive, was the fact that both of those guys are at least average fullbacks, right? And that they could kind of interchange there, especially with how Guilherme likes to release and get up front. Let's go ahead and jump into this one, E. And in first minute on the rewatch, we got ref cam, baby. And there was a lot of it last night. Again, I still stand. I like the ref cam.
Yeah.
I would not watch a whole game like that, like I would for like NFL behind the line, that type, the sky cam or whatever, but I enjoy it. And then right off the rip, you hear the announcer on Apple TV pronounce, we were saying Jailson the other day. He said Jailson. But then following that, there's a big old Guilherme beer, and I was like, oh, fuck, it's Keith Costigan. I can't trust any pronunciation this guy puts out there. So who fucking knows on Jailson?
Oh, Keith Costigan. Oh, man. Immortalized here forever in the North End, that's for sure.
Yeah, hey, don't come at our boy P. Mike like that. Come on, Keith. 5th minute here, E. Pretty good ball here from Ilie right into the path of John Gallagher, running in behind that LAFC back line on the left. And Johnny takes one touch towards net, and then on his second touch, the ball kind of gets caught up underneath him, quells what would be a very clear chance in on Hugo Lloris. But John settles it, ushers it out wider left to Owen, who then whips a ball into the 18. It's headed away. Ilie tries to bring it down at the edge of the 18, but when he brings it down, kind of handles it there, whistle blows. But just a missed chance for Johnny, man. And when that ball finds his foot, just for that split second, my thought was, here he comes to dunk right in E's face.
There we go. Would have loved it, man.
I know.
Would have been great. But yeah, poor play
more
by John.
ammo here now.
Yeah, look, man, I'm not going to beat the dead horse anymore.
Right.
Just not a good touch. He wants it back for sure. This was a nice little start to this game, though, and you put a little emphasis on that LAFC backline to be awake here. And I thought that we were getting some pretty solid distribution in the form of crosses last night, and they were coming from both sides.
Yeah, that's a good shout. There's not a ton. Again, like if you watch the match, whether you're in the stadium or at home or today or on the replay, man, 10th minute, you get a yellow card to Segura after Osman just makes him look silly out there on that right sideline. Segura pulled him back on a potential breakaway over there, and you can see how focused the LAFC defense, especially with no Izuni out there. There was at times 4 defenders surrounding Buka, especially when he got into that final third up to the right side of that 18-yard box. Like, bodies are just, he's a magnet for defensive attention. And a couple times he put in some pretty dangerous crosses in addition to what he does game in, game out, getting double, triple teamed. You think they've corralled him and whoop, nope, there he goes. Again, I know Buka didn't have a goal contribution to his name on the night, but I thought he was, again, doing his job quite well, right? Taking his chances to stretch that LAFC back line, to get in behind, and coming back and being a part of that clean sheet defense, a defense that set a new club record last night for clean sheets.
There we go. I mean, we've been saying it all year since he's been here. The guy is unguardable in one-on-one situations. And you don't have to be a coach with like Steve Cherundolo with his resume to understand that you have to send multiple bodies at this guy. Otherwise, he's going to beat your defender one-on-one pretty routinely. And, you see it all night long. I would say, like you said, he didn't generate any goal contributions, but he was the engine for the offense, and he generated plenty of balls into the box that were dangerous. There's nobody at the end of them, so I can't really fault him too much for that. But yeah, he was whooping dudes all night long, man. It's so much fun to watch. I pretty much every time he touches the ball and he gets a breakaway, I stand up, do a little Harden, come get cooked. It's common, So I love watching him, and I think he's battled through some frustrations this season. I think he was a little bit frustrated last night. I think the start of this game, one or two balls didn't go his way. I think we had an opportunity to play him. A little bit of frustration, but he continues to go out there and just be a menace when he has the ball. And we know how different this team looks when he is not on the field as compared to when he is. So shout out Book, man. Absolutely love watching the guy play.
17th minute, you get a yellow card to Ilie. Late challenge on Delgado there. I don't think, especially you get that ref cam look, I don't think you have much of an argument against that one. We jump ahead all the way to the 37th minute here, E. There's a good run by Wolff in behind on that left side, and he's played through. Nicely weighted ball by Guilherme Biru down that left side. Towards the end line, Owen gets to it before the defender, and he tries to put a cross in. That gets blocked out for a corner kick by the LAFC defender. Owen lines up over it. He lofts this one towards the back post, where CJ rises up over the scrum, and he can't quite get his head on top of it. And so he nods it up and over the bar. But Fodre continues to be an athletic threat on all of these set pieces. And obviously we've seen him not just change, but win games in the air over the last month and a half. And I know he didn't get this one last night, but when you're trying to pick out a few moments of excitement from this game, this certainly was one. This was, I believe, FOTMOB gave him a big chance on this. And that's how much he elevated over everybody else in the box. And I probably wasn't the best defense from Los Angeles either. But to see that at least once a game, again, it's just, to me, I'm putting last night's game log in the pile of good CJ performances. And in his first home start as well, I know, again, nobody out there tore it up last night. I thought CJ had a good game.
And the expectations that have been placed on him after his recent run of form are probably a little bit too high, probably a little bit too grandiose. But like you said, he is a threat in the air no matter who we're playing. He's up there with, we're talking about Nkosi Tafari on this back line. One of the best players in the air in the league. And
I hate him. I love him. I hate him.
I hate him and I love him too. He's so good. But CJ getting up there for this, and just the timing was a little bit off, but you've seen some really threatening corner kicks come from Owen. And when they're being played towards CJ, I feel really good about it, man. And once again, he belongs out there. And that's the thing that I've been looking to the most. Is it can you see, does he pass the eye test where it's does he belong out there with these guys? The answer is yes. It's 100% yes.
Do you think that answer was different 5 months ago?
Well, he wasn't really getting the opportunities, I would say.
Sure. They were much more, certainly, obviously not getting starts and not getting the more extended runouts that we've seen here lately. But I feel like he looked more, for lack of a better term here, baby deerish still at the beginning of the year. Those couple times, right? It was 10, 12 minutes at the end of matches, whether you were up or down, trying to see it out, trying to generate something, right? He was still busting his ass. That's always been there. But I think you just, kind of to your point, right? He not only looks the part, but he looks comfortable out there now, at least to my eye. And so, again, I'm excited to watch him hopefully continue to grow here with Austin.
And, his confidence obviously has grown quite a bit with what he's been able to do, the way he's been able to contribute to this season for the first team. And, again, passing the test, the visual test every time. And we've been asking these questions about when he was getting these starts. Was he going to be able to play as hard as he is known for, but to be able to make it for 80 minutes, 75 minutes, 90 minutes. And like he's been able to do that. And he's picking and choosing his spots when he's going to go full tilt at your back line, put a little pressure on you. I think it's in maybe the second half, I believe, where we get a back pass to Lloris. CJ's bearing down on him. And you just got to kick it out of bounds because like the pressure was there. And like, again, that's just on the checklist. And he's been going down that checklist and checking these things out. Yep. And it's been a joy to watch.
Still just 21 years old. Yep. 39th minute here. Very hard foul and late challenge by Danny on Mark Delgado. I'm really surprised after the rewatch that he was not shown a yellow here because Mendoza, who was the head official, who we've, he's not our favorite official. He's not the worst official we've seen, especially in the last month emotionally, but he was dishing out the yellows. Like, this is a tougher, and I think, again, for lack of a better term here, a dirtier foul than what Ilie did on Delgado as well to pick up a yellow 20 minutes before. So I think we're pretty lucky there that Danny was not shown a yellow. Off that free kick, LA does play it on the ground, out wide to the right side. Sergei Palencia, he's got plenty of space. He whips it in. Now, Mateja Djordjevic gets his head to it, but he's trying to get down low to meet the ball. Does meet it, but it only goes as far as Ryan Porteous there, like 8 yards from net, and the LA center back nods it back towards the spot where it is on a fucking platter for Jeremy Ebobisse here, dude. And like, this was one of the times, we have a couple times each match where we just don't have the depth perception to fully grok what is going on in front of net down there in the south end. I think you and I could both tell in the moment that this was a chance, but this absolutely should have been a goal, especially Ebobisse, the way he's put goals in against us over his career. He's right in front of Stuver unmarked, mishits it on the bounce, and it goes over the crossbar. And like, that was their cleanest chance on the night, and we definitely got lucky there.
You got lucky there. And like you said, we have seen while we were driving up, we were talking about Ebobisse and telling Debo how much he's killed us. Was 8 of the 9 games he's played against us. It
was the first 8, and then the March game between these two teams was the first time he hasn't had a contribution against them. Yeah.
So this guy has been an absolute Austin FC killer. This one is right there for him, and he absolutely wants it back. And got fortunate. I don't, if he gets contact to this that is on frame, it is going to be very difficult for Bradley Scott Stuver to keep this out of the net because how far away is he right there? Like
7 yards, maybe less.
So this was a huge opportunity for them. And, this would have changed the game. We've heard it plenty of times. Goals change games. And this would have been a problem for Austin.
Now, I know this is a head scratcher for most people, and it was for us too in the moment. I think what happened here, we get to stoppage time. 2 minutes are shown on the board. 18 seconds in, Mendoza blows the whistle, and we go to halftime. I think it was just a mistake by VAR, or Mendoza overruled the fourth official, whoever's keeping that time. No matter what happened, I think I agree with the second and eventual decision rather than 2 minutes. Yeah. Because we didn't need to play anymore in that half. There wasn't shit happening.
Nope. And then I think the stoppage time in the second half is equally as
too long. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think it was the right call. Obviously a little bit confusing, but I do think it was right because, nothing happened. We didn't have any significant injuries, no goals, nothing like that. So, weird.
Coming out of the half, you do get a change for LA here. It was Frankie Amaya coming in for Jailson. And then in the 54th minute, a yellow card to Tim Tillman down in the north end there, just screaming right at the linesman. And like, maybe that call, I don't know what he was really upset about there, but maybe there was a deflection that we couldn't really see. 58th minute. Los Angeles here controlling possession through the first 10, 15 minutes early here in the second half. We've got a really dangerous combination, like 30 yards from net here. Tillman, Hollingshead, Ebobisse, boom, 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 quick passing. It ends up leaving the ball at the feet of Frankie Amaya. And he ends up laying it off for Morin, who takes a crack from distance that Stuver's able to get down to his right and parry away. Then luckily, Djordjevic is the first one to get to that rebound to clear it out for the throw because that ball was just sitting there spinning. This was very nervy in the moment because anytime I feel like there's been a couple just back-breaking goals, especially like against a San Diego type of team, where that ball pinging around in the midfield slices us up and creates a chance that has just been, again, like maybe Achilles heel isn't the right way to put it, but think back to RSL, right? Those just quick strikes through the midfield, boom, 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 shot, goal. And this definitely felt like it. I think we were lucky that it was this guy, Morin, who, I got to be honest, dude, I have never heard of that kid before yesterday. And that's saying something with the depth of LAFC's roster. So, like, I think we were lucky that it wasn't a more talented player maybe taking that strike because it really wasn't very dangerous, especially for Brad.
Yeah, and that's why I was a little bit confused that Brad wasn't able to completely corral this like right off the rip because there's not a ton of pace on this. It doesn't look like it's got a ton of like top spin or anything that, you know, would give him a bunch of issues. But this ball does land in a very dangerous spot. Good on Djordjevic, who again, I think another solid shift, another guy who again keeps passing the eye test and keeps checking the boxes to be a contributor for this team moving forward. So I'm super satisfied with what he's been bringing to the table since he's been introduced here.
After that throw-in, Austin does win possession back here. Now we're in the 59th minute. Buka and Dessler combine down that right side. This is a beautifully worked breakaway with a very nice give and go near midfield. That chance ends up getting slowed down by Tafari. I think he did commit a foul there, but advantage was played. Buka chases it down on the end line. And, like, I think a problem in this moment is that, you know, we were on a counter, but we also don't have anybody that's quick enough to keep up with Book. So he gets to the end line, and he has nobody with him, and that allows LAFC to send 3 defenders his way. But then, like, we are finally able to establish possession there in that final third for about a minute or so here before Wolff is able to slip a really sneaky pass into the path of John Gallagher, who had kind of inverted into that left channel. And John turns, unleashes a low shot towards that near post, and Hugo Lloris able to get down and get the stop to his right. Not too dissimilar from the shot we just saw from Morin on the other end. But on that restart, man, Lloris boots it long, Stuver all the way to Stuver. Brad scoops it up out of the air, and simultaneously, Brendan Heinzike throws Tim Tillman to the ground. And this was not the only time we got that motherfucker back for making contact with Brad, talking shit in March, because Stuvino came out in a big way in the first half to turn fucking Tillman around, make him look silly. And here BHI comes in and said, we didn't forget about that, Timothy. Yeah. Put your ass on the ground one time.
He was whining all night too, man. You know, back to the offensive play here. Great ball by Owen. Again, the kid is fucking incredible. The shot by Johnny, obviously not super threatening. You know, and when we're breaking down the team, you know, and talking about LAFC on the preview and everything, and, you know, we spent 20 minutes and you don't even mention Hugo Lloris, who has the most caps in French national team history, has the most saves for that country, which is a very successful country on the international scale. You know, and I tell him, Dahl, like, this is the best goalkeeper in French history that they have back here as well. So, you know, you're gonna have to put something a little more threatening to beat him. But glad Tillman got touched up a little bit last night. As far as the payback that we've been looking for some of these players that are may or may not be on a list, you know, finally getting Tillman was nice.
63rd minute here. Ball in from Danny towards the back post. Guilherme Biru's in that scrum. Couple Austin players making a run. And Biru goes down. Some contact from Palencia there. Shouts from a pen, not just from the players, of course, from the fans there in the supporter section. Nico also sprints over to his little monitor, his iPad there on the sideline to get a second look. I didn't think there was much in the moment. We're also 100 yards away.
Yeah.
They did check it. VAR did, because they did pause the game for about 10 seconds, but nothing doing there. And I don't think we have too much of a gripe.
No, I mean, for, you know, as soft as some penalties we've seen this season, this would have been right up there with them in regard to how soft this call would have been. So no issue with me for that. I will say Biru last night, I think, turned some things around. You know, his play as of late has not been good, but I think last night he was fine, and I think that was good for him. Again, I talked about it. I can't remember how many episodes ago. I don't think he's a guy who's losing confidence in his abilities and in his self. So that's it's be a really good thing to have that inflated sense of self and just be like, yeah, I can do whatever I want. But being able to get out there and put in a good shift was important for him and big Biru fan club guys like me.
Yeah. 70th minute here, you get the first changes for Austin. You get Jader Obrian and John Kulminich in for CJ and John Gallagher. I don't know. Is he Big Tex anymore, dude? Big buzz cut. Yeah. John Kulminich shaved it off.
Yeah, man. I felt like there was a lot of buzz cuts last night. Pep obviously, did his a little whiles back. I think Owen got to, right? Took it some off the top a little bit there. But yeah, man, Big Tex. Whatever. It's a fashion thing now for Big Tex. He does what he wants. As someone who got schooled on the culture of cowboy hats at a bar the other night, it is incredible how many rules and regulations and shit there are with these hats. And if you put your hat on your bed, it's bad luck. You might die in the fields if you do that. So never put your cowboy hat in the bed. For anyone out there listening, yes, I want to get a cowboy hat. I want to get a feather, but apparently you can only get a feather if it's been given to you by a Native American. And I don't. Yeah, man. You got to talk to my guy. You don't know about that. You got to talk to my guy.
Well, we'll investigate further. We will. Look, you got a birthday coming up. A couple months.
Beaver pelt, straw. Depending on the occasion. I go, what happens if you're a vegetarian? Can you wear beaver pelt? You go, I don't know about that one.
Is there going back to the big buzz cut? You're bringing up those other guys. All those guys had highlights or bleach in their hair, right? So did we make a pact no more bleach for the playoffs or something like that?
I think that's what I've been saying. That was part of the reason why I was like, damn, did a lot of guys get their hair cut last night? Because the color is gone, or they're just putting that Dennis Reynolds dark dye in there to really take out the shimmer.
The Carlos Boozer.
Yeah.
The Stephen Miller.
Oh,
that fucking demon. Also, LAFC gets in Martinez and Smoyakov for Morin and Hollingshead. And this is where you see the fucking depth of this team, man, to be able to bring in a young rising talent like Martinez. I think we were lucky he didn't play starters minutes last night. And Smoyakov's one of their another one of their U22s who is quality in my eyes. So 75th minute, here's where Danny, that maybe those fouls in the first half catch up to him, goes through Abobasi's back. I think Abobasi here uses his body well to draw the foul, and the caution is shown to Danny. Off that set piece, LA floats the ball right to left towards the back post. Stuver gets under it, gathers it, and he takes a peek up, launches a throw down that right side into the path of Buka, almost high, fucking whipping that thing all the way to midfield. Osman runs onto it, and then he plays a pretty cheeky curling ball in behind that back line that's disorganized to Owen. Wolff's first touch kind of takes him away from net, and then LAFC, with that extra half second, able to get enough guys back in front of the ball to push the threat away. And then they almost break away when they get the ball back. Matea picks up a yellow card for pulling Martinez back to stop that breakaway.
Yep.
But again, you see the recognition of the opportunity by Brad to throw that ball out there for Osman when they are going to have a tough time getting multiple guys back on him in that instant. And then the run from Owen, again, going from defending that set piece to trying to get the opening goal on the counter here. Again, nothing came of it. I think you see the quality of LAFC's defense in this moment as well. But this is, again, being that type of opportunistic is how, if you got to play this team again in a 3-game series, those are the types of plays that we're going to have to convert on and not just see the opportunity and try something. You're going to have to go convert here in the playoffs.
I love this little caveat that we have here now with this play. I love it. It just adds another element to us. And, we're, what are we at? 37 goals, 38 goals, or how many goals we got right now? I
think it's 36, which did pass last night the 2021 goals total of 35. So not the worst offensive season in history.
There we go. And when you're not scoring a lot, man, if you can generate ways to get chances, this is one of those ways that we've been able to do that. I don't know if we've ever scored off of this, whether it be Buka or the actual opportunity in itself, but I do like it, and you can catch some teams off guard with this. I love having this, and like to your point, if you meet this team again in the playoffs, and they have Son and they have Bouanga, you're gonna need some luck to beat them. Sure. And you're going to have to generate some weird kind of funky chances. You know, I know that we swept this team this year, held them scoreless, which huge shout out to the crew for that, man. That's fantastic. Beat the whole city of LA, you know, swept them all.
For nothing.
That's right, baby.
And the only goal you give up is that bullshit pen against Dessler.
True. So, you know, you're going to have to get a little creative with how you're going to be able to try to score against this team when they're full strength. So I love having this in the book here.
Another thing I love about our first ever shared fandom here, in our friendship, is that you and I can come together in this moment and talk about beat LA and sweep LA and all that. Like, this is the stuff I love to say during basketball season, and you don't have the same opinion there. So after that Djordjevic yellow, you do get another double change for Austin. Bobby T comes in, Nico Dubersarski comes in, Ilie and Osman Bukhari take their leave. I think it was interesting to line up Robert Taylor on the right side here, which is not something that we have seen this season, at least that I can recall.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly was asking for Taylor a little bit earlier here, and you know,
you wanted him before Hot Air, right? I think you were calling for him first. Yeah,
I did again, but I'm falling back on if you're not beating Hot Air out for minutes, I can't really support you too much. But again, if you're going to play with a team like LAFC, no matter who we play in this first round, it's going to be a good team. You know, you're going to play a high quality opponent no matter what. I personally think LAFC is the most dangerous out of the ones we could eventually end up with, but if we're able to get anything out of some of these guys off the bench, man, like that is just going to be a huge component for this team to really be able to try to pull off what will be a pretty spectacular upset.
Yeah. Yep. 79th minute here. Djordjevic, maybe his only true mistake on the night, at least that I could pick out here, loses the ball just inside our own half to Martinez, and Martinez is off. He's in behind. BHI does really well to sprint back to not only help drive Martinez wider on his approach to Brad there, but he also cuts off the passing lane to a wide open Jeremy Abobasu, who I don't think he's missing that one.
No.
If Martinez is able to find him. And so then does even better to make the tackle without fouling Martinez in the box. So the second most nervy moment, I think, of the game outside of that Abobasu chance in the first half. And I think you really got to credit BHI here, man, because it saved the day with that intervention.
Totally agree. And, you know, as of late, I think we've said more negative things about BHI than positive things. And I think that has been well-deserved. I think some of the times that he's had some very questionable defensive efforts. This was not one of them. This was a fantastic play. And like you said, not only stopping Martinez from getting off a clean look, but blocking the passing lane as well to take on, you know, you guarding two guys at once, man. Fantastic effort by BHI there.
81st minute. Great tackle from Nkosi Tafari here to win the ball off of Obrian. And Tafari takes off up that right side past multiple Austin defenders, including your boy. This is the one moment on the night where I think we can highlight Biru getting toasted a little bit by a center back, no less. And Tafari is able to carry this all the way from his own half into the Austin 18 before opening up for a shot that Stuver is able to block away with his right leg. Austin goes right back down the pitch. I want to come back to that. Reestablishes possession in the LAFC defensive third. Work it from right to left to the foot of Kulminated, who whips a nice ball in towards the back post. Danny's there, but that ball can't get over. I think it was Porteous that heads this out for a corner. But going back to the Tafari run, man, oh my God. Come on, boys, we got to. And again, I think it's fair to call out Guilherme here because he was that last line of defense and just gets okey-doked here.
Yeah, got smoked. This was a poor angle that he took for this ball. Tafari really embarrasses him, and good Lord, if we had to watch another Nkosi Tafari game-winning goal against our team, obviously, you know, this one would have been I mean, I guess would this have been more spectacular than a no-look backwards header with 1 second left in the game? But
there would have been more skill in this, but no way. We could have lost 8-0 last night, and I would have felt worse about that Dallas loss we had to walk out of and drive back
absolutely.
home.
The kid, I mean, he's a great player, man. And like we said, both of us agreeing here, love the guy, hate the guy for sure. This was an incredible play. Shot wasn't too great. A little kick save by Stuver there, gets it out of danger. So good on Brad. Guilherme, that ain't the one. that is not the play that we want to be bringing up here, but you got out of there.
Yeah, and of course, you come back to this corner that was won by that Kulminated left-footed ball in towards Danny. So it was Johnny trotting over to take the corner kick, and in-swinger here, that service live looked like it was deflected at the near post by Guilherme Biru. It pops off of that deflection towards the back post, or the far post rather, where Owen Wolff is there, nods it home with some power to take the lead. On the replay, it does look like that ball deflected off of Eddie Segura's noggin, so no assist there. But we'll take it, man. And another Owen Wolff game-winning goal contribution. And to anybody who commented that I posted this before the final whistle blew, knew it the whole time.
And it did feel that way. It really did.
Yeah, there was nothing else happening.
Yep. It really felt like whatever team was able to just find a way to put one past the opposing keeper was going to see that game out. And I felt completely confident that we were going to win that game because they had nothing going on. And now you can park the bus even more. Go ahead.
I mean, dude, it was 23 fouls and 6 total shots at that point.
Yeah.
This is a fucking rock fight that we were lucky to get 3 points out of.
I totally agree. That one very easily could have been a 0-0 draw, us walking out there trying to, make this seem a little more sweet than it was bitter.
Yeah. Or the opposite way, where Abobasi scores first half and they sit back and it's 1-0.
Absolutely. So, Owen Wolff, man, good Lord. It is. This was breaks the record, right? That's what you're talking about?
So he has 6 match-winning goal contributions this season. I believe that's over all competitions, but again, that is a club record for a single season now. And well-deserved, man. Like, Absolutely. He has been, absent Stuver, of the field players, Owen Wolff's been the most consistent this entire year. And he's, obviously there's been guys that have gotten better as we went, but his ascension, I think, has been overshadowed a little bit by the CJ bottle rocket that we had for 3-4 weeks there, where Owen Wolff the last 3 months has been, I mean, I got to stop short of saying best 11 caliber, but one of the best stretches, not only of his career, but of players that we've seen for this club.
Absolutely. 13 goal contributions on our 36 goals, man. He has by far.
I think it's 16 because I think there's some secondary assists if you're looking on FB Ref or on FotMob that are not counted.
Word. And I think part of the reason for that, what you just brought up there with the, with the ascension of CJ, and this is not to take anything away from CJ, is that there's a lot of people who would have had to walk back some pretty stupid comments that they had been making about this kid for the last 3.5 seasons. And people don't necessarily like to do that. But I will once again toot my own horn. Nobody was going to benefit more from the departure of Josh Wolff than Owen Wolff. I was the first person to say it. You're welcome.
85th minute, you get the final sub, Savovich in for Danny, and then a double change for LAFC in the 87th, Ryan Raposo, Yaya Boa. See that fucking depth, man. In for Segura and Palencia. 88th minute here. You get Los Angeles turning it over at the backs. Good tackle by Obrian in this moment. And that loose ball comes to Kulminated, who puts it on a platter for Robert Taylor running in behind on that right side. And Robert can't really make anything out of it. It's not the easiest ball in the world to corral here. And also, Taylor, technically, I think out of position there on the right. I have never seen him play on that side. But I would have loved, in my ideal world, he just pings that off the bounce and tries to beat Lloris with the one-timer. Not what happened, but again, Kulminated coming in and showing what we've been missing. And I once again forget who pointed, or I saw somewhere where Kulminated, I think, was saying he's been dealing with a knock, maybe a little hamstring tightness or something like that. It's got to be an explanation like that for why he, wasn't in against Nashville, didn't start against St. Louis with no Biru, because you see the quality that the kid has been bringing all year now this year. And I know we've said it 16 times already, but it's worth mentioning again, I think. that this is Kulmanich's best season and it's not super close.
Yep. And like just on the other side of the coin where I'm like, are we going to be able to get contributions from our bench players? This is the flip side of that coin. And you have been getting consistent contribution from Big Tex this entire season. The balls that he plays in are incredibly dangerous. Obviously, you get the goal off of his corner kick efforts and everything like that. And I'll jump to Bobby T a little bit, man. Talk about somebody who has probably lost a lot of confidence. And when we first got him and we were so excited about his arrival and everything, I think one of the things we really talked about was like, I felt like the guy was a real gamer, like when he was going to be up for the moment. And this is one of those moments where I think if he was playing with a bit more confidence, a bit more, a looseness to him, he could have buried this one. So hopefully, it's going to be a quick turnaround, but he should play a lot versus San Jose, in my opinion. Like, if you're not going to give him a rotational minutes in the playoffs, throw him out there versus San Jose and let's see what he can do. Maybe get something positive moving forward for him. But tough. But shout out Big Tex, man. Again, coming off the bench, being ready, staying ready, playing some great balls in here, creating chances and generating opportunities for this team.
5 minutes of stoppage time given here. You get a Smolyakov cross that kind of hangs in the air over towards the back post, and it's on the right side of the 18 there in the north end. Ryan Raposo takes out Jean Kulmanich on that aerial challenge, and Guermey does not like it. He comes over, takes exception, kind of shoves Raposo away from Kulmanich, and it's Kulmanich who kind of plays peacemaker. I think, like, Biru, like, it's okay, brother. Like, I'm fine. Wasn't a dirty foul. Like, but I always appreciate somebody sticking up for their guy there. But it was ultimately, this is just another chance in stoppage time for Austin to take the air out of the ball, which they did, I thought, very well there. Little gamesmanship. Stuver probably could have been carded in this one, especially watching it back this morning.
Yeah. He would have taken that.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I would have loved it.
He doesn't care.
Yeah. No.
And, final whistle blows, man. So the 1-0 victory, again, you sweep LA, you love to see it.
Absolutely fucking love to see it. And, the heartbreak from the championship game, man. And then you have the stinker before where you're prepping for the game versus RSL. And then you have the stinker after with St. Louis. And, to be able to bounce back. And again, like I said off the top here, I don't give a shit who LAFC did or did not have out there. They got a good fucking team no matter who suits up for them. So this was a quality win. It was an ugly, ugly fucking game, but you got the job done. You are locked into the 6th seed now. You don't have to worry about playing on the worst pitch in America versus the San Jose Earthquakes and that, just the, reckless style of soccer that they play over there. So I'm incredibly happy about that. Again, a successful season. First campaign for Nico and his staff. They have found a way to push this team into the playoffs, who have been above the playoff line for like 90% of the season, y'all. Yeah. Like, this is a team that has been, and it's not even like we've been in the wild card for the majority of that time.
Right.
We have been hovering in that 4 to 7 kind of range. And I think 6 has been pretty much where we've been sitting at for quite some time now. But I mean, this has been a successful year, man. You lost one of your DPs. A goal-scoring threat for a team that has really struggled to score all season long. The defense has been fantastic. Again, up there with some of the better teams in this league that, have much more points than we do at this point. Obviously, the contributions of Bradley Scott Stuver, the ascension of Owen Wolff into uncharted territory for this team. Like you said, not just his rise as being a young, impressive player, but one of the best seasons we have seen out of anyone who has ever laced them up for the Verde and Black. So this has been a fun year. Obviously, all of these years are going to have highs and lows, and we've experienced some really low lows with this club this season. But again, you started out this year with probably the most difficult. And again, if someone can prove me wrong and show me a more challenging schedule to start the year than what Austin had to see FC had to deal with, I'll take a look at it, because they found a way to grit and grind this thing out. And like, that was a good thing that you pointed out in your article, grit and grind. Just, that's what this team has been about all season long, man. And you're going to get a chance in the playoffs here now. You're going to have the 3 seed and you're going to have a chance to, pull off an upset. So let's see what fucking happens. But I just want to say shout out to all the dudes, everyone involved, top to bottom. Great. It's been a great season thus far.
And shout out Tony Allen.
Yeah, of course. And Zebo.
45% possession at the end of this one for Austin. It was 5-3, barn burner at the Q. That was in favor of LA, but 2 shots on target for each of these teams, 3 corners to just 1 in favor of Austin. Again, they gave Austin 2 big chances. 1 missed. That one that they counted as a missed big chance was the Fodre header attempt in the first half. On FotMob's expected goals model, just 0.47 XG for Austin to 0.29 for LAFC. But that expected goals on target, 1.12 for Austin, 0.11 for LAFC, which feels, once again, pretty accurate to me. Shout out to you once again, Easterdamus with the 1-0. And you mentioned, right, you lost Brandon Vasquez. That was huge for this team. And neither of us are making the argument that they were firing on all cylinders before that. I think all the new additions on the coaching side as well, that's going to play into a slow start. The toughest schedule in the league over the first 17, that played a huge role. And you were talking about in the table, sure, there were times where you're floating down in 7, 8, 9, maybe even 10 for a week there.
I think so.
For the majority of this season, especially in the second half, you got to remember, we had 1, sometimes 2 games in hand on the rest of the Western Conference. So on a points per game basis, to your point, you were never really lower than 6th or 7th here. And so they've been, again, consistent and maybe a little bit too consistently mediocre at times for what we think the ceiling of this team could have been. But like you said earlier, man, you make the playoffs, check. Top 7, avoid the wild card, check. That was the bare minimum for this season. You got it done, and we went to a final. Would we have liked to win? Of course. But nobody at the beginning of the year. Dude, we had people going out there in the middle of the Open Cup in July saying, I don't give a shit about the regular season, prioritize the Open Cup, which never made any sense to me because holy shit, man. It's 3 games.
Yeah.
What do you mean get rid of the regular season? We can do both, and they fucking did, man.
Yeah.
So, again, just echoing what you said, man, congrats to the guy. Obviously, the season's still 1 more to go here in the regular season, but for all intents and purposes for Austin, this is, like Nico said of the RSL match, a training exercise here next Saturday at San Jose, which obviously we'll preview. We'll preview that on Thursday with a Monday episode here this week. And that's going to be about how do we get out of there unscathed.
Yep. I mean, and again, you just ended LAFC's 6-game winning streak. They were the hottest team in the league coming into this matchup. Yep. I know that the matches, the teams that they played over that 6-game winning streak were not impressive clubs, but I like the way that you framed it the other day, right? You look at the Western Conference table, you obviously see the upper echelon 4 or 5 teams, but then after that, we are the best team of that group of mid clubs. We have been all season long. We have been. And
I also think, sorry to interrupt, I also think the Western Conference is better top to bottom. Our bottom half is better than the shit teams in the East. And that's why you see record numbers of points. The playoff line in the East is 50 fucking points, which is wild. Because before last year, we were looking at it too, right? Where the Western Conference was a record number of points for the playoff line. So that's, again, man, playing against St. Louis and Houston and San Jose and RSL in the elevation and Colorado in the elevation and fucking Dallas is scrappy until their collapse the other night had been really hot, 8 unbeaten, right? Even down the second half of the season, the schedule that on paper was one of the easiest in the league after the first half was the toughest. We still had some really tough fucking matchups there.
Yep, absolutely. And again, obviously the injury to BV, quote unquote, unlocked Mirtu a little bit, obviously made him play more of a position and style that he's more accustomed to. But you cannot tell me that we are a better team without Brandon Vasquez. You can't tell me that.
For sure.
That is not the case, y'all. And shit, we would have had BV if he was healthy last night and Mirtu was in fucking Albania. Playing. Yeah. So that would have been awesome. So again, this has been a great effort from everyone involved in this club, man. And let's go see what happens. Yep. Get through this fucking San Jose. I don't give a shit if you lose 58-0. Get through this game. Nobody get hurt. Let the young kids get out there. Let Robbie Taylor get out there. Hopefully he can get some confidence. let Hot Air start. Let Jana get real upset about that. But then Hot Air, you prove her wrong. come through clutch for us and everything. Fucking put Cleveland in. Fuck it. I don't give a shit if you lose that game by 1,000. Just don't get hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, we'll talk more about that. We'll talk more about playoff scenarios. There are 3 teams now with us locked into the 6 that we could match up with in the first round. LAFC, San Diego, Minnesota. In terms of the probabilities, that is the order. But if you're looking at playoff status, playoffstatus.com, rather, their algorithm, I understand LAFC is the most likely of those 3 teams individually to be our matchup. But it's 57% chance that it's not going to be LAFC. So we're ready to scoreboard watch. We're ready to preview some scenarios on Thursday's episode. Other things to note here, we talked about Owen with his 6 match-winning contributions this year. 9th clean sheet of the season, new club record. It's our first since mid-July, man. So like getting one of those on the books before the playoffs begin, especially in one of these 3-game series where, look, man, you can advance without scoring a single goal.
Yep, for sure.
Go to PKs, and you feel pretty good about anybody with Stuver in that.
Yep.
4-0-0 in the primetime slots this season. So come on back Sunday Night Soccer as much as you want next year. And again, 4-0-0 against the 2 LA teams this year. And that might feel the best of all of this.
Ooh, feels great. And I just want to point out, like the emphasis has been placed on the display versus RSL and the game versus St. Louis. You beat Seattle in between those fucking games. You beat fucking Seattle, who, last I checked, is the only team in MLS history to have won every single available tournament to them. Yeah, so this is one of the best clubs this league has ever fucking seen. So you beat them in between there, and then you go out and you sweep this LAFC team, and fuck you.
Man, Nico was feeling himself too, and I think for good reason. The one quote that stuck out to me, man, he said, "I've started 4 seasons in MLS as a head coach, right?" He said, "I finished 3 as a head coach, and in all 3, I made the playoffs."
Boom.
Which, look, just bringing the facts there. And again, he came in, he got the job done. Yep. Did he exceed expectations? Open Cup, yes. Regular season standing, no. We had him predicted 5th in our preseason predictions. But again, I think it's a good moment this week for those guys to reflect. You can relax a little bit here this week, especially early in the week, right? You're locked up. You can't go up. You can't go down. You can't control who your opponent is going to be. So enjoy it, man. These guys deserve to be celebrated right now. And look, if you want to say 6th seed in the playoffs isn't something to celebrate, okay, man. Like, I get where you're coming from, but we've also been in it with this team twice a week, however many seasons in a row now since we started this thing. And it feels fucking good to have this locked up going into decision day, man. If you're grinding with this team as a fan week in and week out, you probably feel the same way.
Absolutely. And like, you've seen the parity of this league every single season we've been a part of it. Like, this is a league that is not, like the super leagues across the world where it's fucking teams are spending $500 million to bring in the greatest players from everywhere. This is a interesting, experiment. It was an experiment in American sports to have this league over here. Hell, we were taking PKs from fucking half field to start when this fucking league started, man. So like, I'm thrilled for the guys. Any chance you get to play playoff soccer, and we did not fall backwards into this. This was not everyone else fucking sucked, and we just happened to fall. This just fell into our lap. We were floating around in that range with games in hand all season long, juggling and balancing, advancing in a knockout stage to the advancing in a knockout tournament to the championship stage, and still getting the job done. And like, has it been fucking pretty? No, this has not been a very fucking pretty team to watch if you appreciate beautiful soccer. Has it been thrilling? No, we don't score a lot of goals. But have they gotten the job done? And have you seen some guys grow and develop right in front of your eyes here? Absolutely. It's been a fun season thus far. I'm glad Nico got to talk his shit a little bit. Again, am I completely satisfied with, being in the 6th seed? Probably not. Not
Yeah.
completely satisfied. I would have loved to have been a top 3 team, of course. Am I completely satisfied with the job that Nico Estévez did this season? No. But still, you found a way. And like a perfect campaign, these exist within, just the dreams of fans, man. To be in this position is fucking awesome. I'm super excited for it. And whoever we get, we get. Bring your ass. Bring your ass.
I don't think I can add anything on top of that. Shout out to Ant. Anything else for you on this one, man? Obviously, we'll preview decision day on Thursday. We'll talk the nonsense, all of that good stuff. One other thing I do want to put on people's radar here on Monday afternoon, we will, of course, touch on this on Thursday as well, that this is our last, regular season road match of the year. So one more time for the regular season, Los Verdes is throwing a watch party here for Decision Day this Saturday, October 18th, when Austin plays the San Jose Earthquakes. We're going back to the motherland here. Hop Squad Brewing. Party's going to start at 6:30. Kickoff for all the Western Conference games, including Austin and San Jose. Kickoff is 8 p.m. this Saturday. Of course, Hop Squad, family-friendly, dog-friendly. Free parking in the lot next door, which is always a bonus when you get the free parking. 2 indoor screens showing the match. LV is going to be there. They'll have merch for sale. Vibe ATX will be there. We'll talk more about Vibe ATX on Thursday. La Murga is performing, which I don't think we've had La Murga at one of these since early in the season. Kramer's Cocktail Bar will be open. Food available from Yucatan Tacos and more food, or Yucatan Tacos and more food truck. Excuse me there. Yeah, come correct. $5 beers during the party, E. I mean, we're going out with a bang here.
Let's go. That sounds fantastic.
We'll talk more about that on Thursday's episode. Anything else for you here before we shut it down?
No, sir.
All right, everybody. We appreciate you tuning in, sticking with us here on episode 264 of the North End Podcast. Like I mentioned, we're back Thursday this week previewing the Decision Day match against San Jose, talking about the watch party, catching up on the nonsense, and, of course, discussing everything else that happens in the Austin FC universe between now and then. Enjoy the beginning of your week, everybody. We will do the same. We'll see you back here on Thursday for another episode. Until then, he's E, and I'm Zach. Vamos Austin FC, everybody. Goodbye.